Hello learners, welcome to Learn to Empower. In this new series, we are going to start daily editorials. Not all the editorials, but certainly the most important editorial of the particular day. So, we will be analyzing the editorials of Hindu, Indian Express and the Mint, but not all the editorials, but certainly the most important editorial. And in this editorial, we will be looking into the points from the point of view of prelims, mains and also for the interview preparation. Based on that, in this series, today we will be looking the most important article of the day. It is from the Indian Express, that is the missing federal spirit. So what I mean by federal spirit here, what is a federal spirit? India is a federal country. Not only India, but also the USA, Japan to a certain extent, and many other countries in the world are federal in nature. So what makes India a unique in this spirit is that the most important thing that India is called a quasi-federal country. What I mean by quasi-federal country? Quasi-federal in the sense that the center is more powerful compared to the states. This is the setup that is given in our constitution, which is inspired from the Canadian constitution. Canadian having the similar kind of constitution where central government is more powerful than the state government. When it comes for the USA, it is a case of very different, because the USA central government is formed based on the agreement that was formed by the 13 colonies when initially the War of Independence was happened. Right. So without wasting any of our time, let's quickly look into the editorial. The context of the editorial says that on January 26, 1950, the Indian Constitution came into force. It was a big step for the nation and it longed to achieve the ideals of the justice, equality, liberty and fraternity. If you remember, these are the words that is exactly given in our preamble. Our preamble says the same words in a different manner, but each and every word is explained in our preamble. Now, our constitution tried to give a definite shape to the aspirations of the people for a sovereign, socialistic, secular, democratic and republic. Again, I want to say you that these are the lines exactly mentioned in our preamble. Now, in a country of subcontinental proportion, what I mean by subcontinental proportion? Here, one thing is that India is not only a nation but a subcontinent in itself, because we are so diverse in terms of population, we are so diverse in terms of culture, we are so diverse in terms of our economic conditions. So India in itself is called as a subcontinent. Right. Now it is necessary that the ideals mentioned in the preamble of the constitution should extend to all the levels of the governance. What I mean by all the levels of governance? The level of governance start from the central government, then to the state government, then to the local panchayat. So this is the three-tier structure we generally follow in India. The third tier came to existence through the 73rd and the 74th Amendment Act. If you remember, the 74th and 73rd Amendment, which were came to the basis giving the governance to the local people. The governance to the local people means the people having the say in the governance of the country. The overall emphasis of the equality in the constitution is visible in all the arrangements made around the federal spirit and ideals. Powers and responsibilities. Now, of differential needs of the population of different states, the drafters of the constitution made the provision for an equitable share of power. Equitable share of power means the central and the state government given the clear-cut division of the power. If you remember, there is something called the 7th schedule of the constitution, which divides the subject between the center and the state based upon union list, state list and the concurrent list. In the union list, the union has the entire power to making the governance of the country. In the state, within the state can make the governance, and for the panchayat, it is for the it is the concurrent list where the both center and the state can make the provisions for the governance of the country. Now, the 7th schedule of the constitution, the union, state and the concurrent are the examples of this division, wherein each levels of the government has its own spheres enabling the context sensitive decision making. So it is clear cut saying that the center even the center is more powerful in all the spheres. Now the clear cut division says that the center, you don't interfere in the state unnecessarily and the states don't interfere with the center unnecessarily. But what is happening in the recent times? In the recent times, many bills in the Rajya Sabha is passed in the name of money bill. right? Under the Article 1110 of the Constitution, many bills in the Parliament is been passed in the Rajya Sabha as a money bill just to circumvent the Rajya Sabha. If you remember, if any bill is passed under the name of money bill, the Rajya Sabha has no say in it, except it can keep it for the 14 days, and not the 14 days, but it has no say in the bill. It has to pass, or it can recommend, but it cannot amend the bill. Now, later the institutions for the local government were added through the 74th and 74th Constitutional Amendment Act, which you have seen it. Next, Article 246 and Article 243G provides for the division and the responsibilities. What is that? And also Article 280 of the Constitution, which provides for the Finance Commission. If you remember, the Finance Commission is called as what? It is called as the financial wheel or the fiscal wheel of the country, because the Finance Commission recommends not only to the central government but also to the state. Even nowadays it has been extended certain powers, so it has been recommending the provisions of the devolution of finance to the panchayat level as well. It can certainly recommend to that. So it is called as fiscal wheel of the country. Apart from these institutions and the Rajya Sabha, the constitution makers also left much scope for the consultative and the deliberative bodies so as to strengthen the spirit of cooperative federalism. What is mean of cooperative federalism? Cooperative federalism is the one where the states are being listened, state has been given certain provisions in decision making process. For example, if you take the GST Council, where GST Council, just a second, okay, in case of GST Council, where the states were given the voting power up to 3/4, right? Overall the 3/4 vote has to come from, but the state were given 2/3 of the voting, where the state takes a decision and the 2/3 of the voting is been calculated among all the states. The center has 1/3 voting, the overall voting has to be, the bill has to be passed with the 3/4. So this is the consultative, or we could say cooperative federalism. For example, interstate councils are also cooperative federalism, right? Now, Article 263 of the Constitution, which certainly talks about the interstate councils for the smooth transition of the business between the union and the state, resolution of the dispute. If you remember, there used to be something called as Planning Commission. Now it has been replaced by Niti Aayog. Earlier the Planning Commission, it has been said that the Planning Commission, even though it's a centrally body, it is constituted or based upon the centrality of the constitution, centrality of the governance, but it always given the spirit of the federalism to the states. So the federal nature of the polity was there when the Planning Commission was used to be there. Now the interstate tribunals, the national developmental councils and other informal bodies have served as a vehicle for the consultations between the center, state and the union territories. These bodies have been instrumental in tackling the difficult issues democratically through deliberations while upholding the cooperative spirit between the union and states. Unfortunately, we are now witnessing the worst assault on the federal system and on the institutions. Now, you need to understand, over the recent times, the states are also been complaining that my federal spirit or my way of governance to the state is been eroding over the period of time. Now let's see what are the allegations put by the author, the recent changes that has been happening in the governance of the country. Now let's see, the recent developments is that the Planning Commission was scrapped. What is now called as? It is called as Niti Aayog. The Niti Aayog, when it was very good spirit that it is from the bottom up approach and all. But in recent times, what we see is that the Niti Aayog, in the name of promoting cooperative federalism, it is giving the reports, in the name of reports, it is saying that the states, you are performing very poor, you need to buckle up. So in the name of buckling up, the states are losing their sphere of influence with the other parts of the governance. Like they are not focusing on the uplifting of the vulnerable sections of the people, because the report is not focusing on those aspects very particularly. Now, the interstate councils has met only once in the last 7 years. This is very not good for a country like India, because interstate councils are very much important for this, solving the interstate river water dispute, for solving any federal issues, right? Because these are the things that we don't go to the courts directly, rather we deal on personal basis from the chief minister to chief ministers, and this council really helps over the larger period of time. But in the last 7 years, we don't see anything as such now. And the National Developmental Council has not even met at all. The tenure of the 15th Finance Commission was mired in the controversy, and many states expressed the apprehension about the devolution. Now, if you remember, there was a recommendation that was kind of given by the Finance Commission, where it is going to take the 2011 population instead of 1971 population. Now the states were demanding, the states which have controlled the population, if you remember the National Family Health Survey data which came, which said that the southern states, right, having the control the population, and they brought the fertility level to 2.1. This is like if you, the financial evolution is based upon 2011 population, it is not going to good, because the financial evolution based upon the population, the northern states will have more say than to the southern states, because the southern states actually controlled the population. Now, the misconceived GST has already taken away much of the autonomy available to the states and has made the country indirect tax regime unitary in nature. If you remember, when I said that the states were given 2/3 of the voting power and the 1/3 of the voting power given to the center, even though it looks that states have more, but it has to be passed with the 3/4 of the majority. Now, when I say 3/4 of the majority, it means one thing, that the 1/3 is compulsory, has to be here, right? If all the states have given the voting, but this is less than the 3/4. Now the center has very say in voting of the GST Council. Now, many important and politically sensitive decisions are taken without reference to the consultation with the concerned state. Yes, this is obviously happening in many spheres of the governance. Article 370 was removed without consulting the state legislature, because if you remember, the Article 370 was very sensitive issue, and it is not asked by the center to the state, because it would have created unnecessary political issue. But anyhow, there could have been some kind of mechanism that could have been adopted for this, but that was not done by the parliament or the central government. Parliament legislated on the agriculture issue. If you remember, there was a farms issue which took place. Almost the country, farmers were protested, even not bothering about the COVID-19, and they were not bothered about the lockdown norms and all, but still farmers protested, and they were very successful in repealing the farm laws. Even the our prime minister has actually agreed that he is sorry about that farm laws. We are not going to deal with the what are the positives and negatives of the particular bill, but we are saying from the governance perspective, yes, Parliament has enacted many laws based upon the agriculture, even though the agriculture is in the state list. Now, students in Tamil Nadu has been committed suicide based upon NEET examination. This is a very controversial topic, because NEET examination, which has been there in all over India since 2016, but the certain states like Tamil Nadu has been protesting, because they say that the people from the socio-economic background are not able to compete to the people who are actually coming from well learned in the coaching institute, right? So that's one point. Other centralized examinations are also indifferent to the language spoken. For example, many of the exams conducted by central government is been conducted either in English or in Hindi. What about the regional languages? There are certain provisions that has been made, but not for all the exams that conducted by central government, right? The new education policy has some kind of tendency towards the centralization as well. Now, the recent times, the BSF Border Security Force jurisdiction has been extended in the states of where Assam, West Bengal, and the Punjab. Nothing but their governance jurisdiction of the BSF has been extended beyond their original jurisdiction, so that it is like encroaching upon the states again. Even though West Bengal government protested for this. The constitutional office of the governor has come under scrutiny several times for encroaching the power of the state executive and the legislature. Recently, the rejection of the Republic Day tableaux, nothing but the Kerala, Tamil Nadu and West Bengal proposed certain kind of like parade. In the parade, it has been taken and it has been showcased that the culture of the state. In the recent times, there some kind of consultative process was happened or not happened, we don't know exactly, but particularly the states like Kerala, Tamil Nadu and West Bengal, it has been rejected, or I would say that it has been not considered on par with the other states. It has been politically colored, like these states are ruled by apart from the political parties which is there in the central government, but we don't want to get into those kind of controversies. These developments stems from an ideology that triggered for the diversity of the country and contempt of constitutional values. Now, let's get into the conclusion, how we can conclude this. The philosophy of the uniformity and flattering out the diversity has disastrous consequence for our republic, society and the way of life. What the author want to say is that in the name of uniformity, India is not uniform. India is diverse, right? But when there are certain ideologies like one nation, one election, one nation, one tax, So when one nation, one ration card, when these kind of ideologies is been pushed without even consulting the state, then there you are pushing the uniformity. India is not uniform, there rises the dispute. Now, the obsession with the homogeneity can escalate and destroy the progressive ideals of secularism, tolerance and the mutual respect. It should be underlined that Article 1 of our Constitution declares that India, that is Bharat, is the union of states and the devolution of the power is necessary in such setting. A conscious recognition of the federal character in our polities is essential to protect our national character. So our India is a federal country. It also having the spirit of secularism. For that, we need to understand that our people are diverse and we should take pride in the diversity and also in its strength. With this, we'll conclude this editorial section, which is most important editorial of the day, and we'll be seeing the same for the next editorial for tomorrow. Till then, take care. Thank you.